And it's AK47 over at Deckmar Trades via Tradecaster.com. Josh Smith Official, Prime Trading here on Instagram. It is the recap for Tuesday, August the 10th, and let's get into it. FULC was the prime runner yesterday, talking about going over 100%, thinking it close to the 150% area. We'll get into that one in just a moment. ZEV, another nice runner from yesterday. Get into that one as well in just a moment. And now let's get into first, though, my first trade. I want to kind of talk about my first alert from yesterday, KXIN. Now, KXIN, now you're like, well, what happened here? Okay, it's not really much of a move here. What are you talking about here? And it's not really much. And what I want to alert, though, are two different things. First off, my quick little alert from chat, seeing this kind of fall down on what? The lower VWAP band. And just real quick, team, you can see on the pink line when you run up to it, that's the upper VWAP band. It's there for a reason. It kind of really, in that area, it just shows you very great resistance. So every time you see a stock run into this, it's going to be a great resistance area. Not always a good short, but a good area for you to take profit. Now, because it can kind of continue to keep running into it and kind of can continue to keep going up, because what can go up? The price. And so, of course, the VWAP will, so the upper band will. So secondly, the other great thing that you always definitely see, though, for at least a long, is a bounce off the lower VWAP band, because when they run into this band down here, you can't stay on it forever or fully collapse it, and you'll get great bounces. And on my alert right here, KXIN, I wasn't looking to trade it yesterday because it is on its way down. Not thinking it's going to get too much, maybe back to the VWAP, but it's going to be slow and steady if it does, and I don't want that. But riding along lower VWAP band should get a bounce up soon, 908. Now I said soon. I didn't mean right away, right off the bat, right? So I'm saying, hey, sometime soon, this is going to see a good bounce right here in the next few minutes. And lo and behold, so here's 908 my time, so 48 minutes after the bell open, or 38 minutes after the bell open. Look at this. Eventually, even just like 2 or 3 cents down from our alerted, because it was like in the like 299, 298 when I alerted it. And then look at this bounce right back up beautifully. I'm trying to get to this. You can see what pricing is right there, though. Eventually kind of up to the 305 area. And what I'm talking about, too, if you would have gotten into this and I couldn't fully alert it and I didn't screenshot a lot of them because I wasn't looking at it. So I didn't go back and screenshot my KXIN alerts. But the move was back, if anything, to the VWAP. Now, if you could fully reclaim the VWAP and break this said open area, see, we broke the VWAP and we were trying to hold that open area, but couldn't hold both and then collapsed. It was going to be so great if we squeezed from this little triangle up to 340 area, because people kept alerting. I'm like, hey, here's what you're looking for, team. This is what you need, because it's been a slow and steady move from that alert that I gave earlier, which you'll see in a second. A trader said, hey, check your KXIN alert. It's working out perfectly, because he alerted about 10, 15 minutes later, where boom, you can see I alerted it here at 908. Within about 20 minutes, literally within 20 minutes, you can see it moved with nice, decent amount back up. 10, nothing but crazy, 10 cents. But here's your move. Back up to 310 at the time being. You got to know at 310, that 310 area, you're going to see some resistance, right? And so that was the first area to get through. The second area to get through was really this openness area and the VWAP, somewhere in this area, right? You kind of have this little top area, then you've got this little open and the VWAP's in there. So that was crucial to get through, and we kind of were, but then we just couldn't squeeze to this open, or should say the high of the market open with these upper shadows. And then same with the 365 area. That would have been the third kind of, real potential for it to really go crazy. And here's what I'm talking about crazy and why I was even looking at it and alerting it yesterday. For the mid-candle breakout setup, and let me show you exactly the potential it had and what I was hoping for, and had that great gap up, right? You can see it gapped up. I'm like, oh, man, here we go. I alerted it, because I alerted it Friday. So on Friday, team, when I go live over at Deckmar Trades via Tradecaster.com. So join us at Tradecaster.com. It is awesome, team. Over 1,000 members in chat all the time, alerting. It's awesome. It's awesome. It's awesome. So get over there and join us. But secondly, I go live on Fridays. And when I was alerting this on Fridays, this had a great first day. And what we call a mid-candle breakout setup essentially is the first day we want to see a nice, good spike. There's no certain percentage. It's got to move 100%, 200%. Usually, and I will say that, usually over 100% move is necessary, right? So sometimes when you don't get that 100% move, this is what happens. But still, you can see it with less than 100% move. I will say that. Regardless, though, what you want is a huge, nice spike from what we've been doing at least recently, right? We want a nice, good spike up. The second day to hold the mid area of the first candle spike. That's what we call it, the mid-candle breakout setup. Because if we hold midway through the first candle spike, doesn't matter if this candle's green, sometimes it's red. Anywhere in between here would be nice, right? Anywhere between about 250 up to about 275. This closed a little higher than I would have liked, honestly. And maybe that's why I kind of fell in the end, because it kind of got too high up and it gapped up a little too much too fast, right? And that happens too much sometimes. A little too much too fast for the stock. But the reason I wanted this, and that's what I was alerting on Friday, watch for Monday to not do much and hold mid-candle breakout form to where Tuesday and Wednesday we go bananas. And we got so close yesterday, and we just couldn't finish that U shape. Of course, on top of the fact, I think a little too much too fast. Then everyone went over to FULC and ZEV. But here's what I'm talking about and exactly why I wanted this setup right here. Look at this, what happened, and look at this spike, and look what it all came from. Let me break it down a little better for you so you can really see, right? Look at this. First day spike, holds the mid candle, almost a doji candle, which is crazy, but still, first day spike, holds the midway, through the first day spike. It's right in the middle. It's perfect. Then here's what happens on day 3 and day 4. We get that bullish, pretty much engulfing candle. Whoa, went crazy there. But you see what happens there. You get that crazy, essentially almost it's crazy upper shadow. It doesn't fully engulf it in the end because, of course, in the end it closes so far down. But then in third day, it just went, or the fourth day, I should say, overall went bananas. But essentially, day 3 and 4 is what we're always looking for. First day spike, second day hold midway through the first day spike, and day 3 and 4 can go crazy. So let's go over to ZEV. Now we're back to 1 minute time frame here. Let's go over to ZEV's run yesterday and what I was looking at and alerting in chat. So we had a nice good run, up from like $8, whatever it was, dollars, right around $8 from yesterday, moving up nicely, and this area was crucial. Getting through this upper shadow, all this 1040 area, 1040-ish, 1045, 1050 was huge. And usually when you see this, and yesterday, and that's why I came up with, you'll see this alert, what I came up with it twice for 2 different stocks, saying, hey, watch for this to happen. Watch for a stock to overtake its upper shadow. And I didn't include this guy, but when you do see this, and this overtakes this upper shadow, when we get this movement, the stock is showing very bullish signs. It's very strong. Traders are moving in now, right? And so if you overtake this downtrend and this nasty upper shadow, you somehow come back from this red to green move, and I'm like, here we go. I'm sure a lot of traders are like, here we go. And I can guarantee you a lot of traders got breaked out right there, bought in, and boof, right down $1. They were down $1, 80 cents, 60 cents at least. And of course, if they would have held long enough, they would have been fine. But I guarantee you a lot of them cut out as fast as they could through there and maybe got their way back through and made some gains back. But still, that to overtake that, now thus comes these alerts. And so let me get into kind of breaking this down and what I was seeing yesterday. Let me show this a little bit more zoomed in so you can see the resistance area I was talking about right there. And now, at 9:06, when we halted up right here, nice good up and down movement, and then whammy up to this new high of day. A lot of the time that forms what? You see that crazy upper shadow on top of the hill. It's been a big move. That could, in FULC's moving, that could be the end of it, right? So right here in this candle, after the upper shadow, you can see at 9:06, I'm alerting, we have seen stocks overtake the upper shadow a lot more lately. 2020, a lot more times rulebook's out the way. It's just crazy how stocks are moving at their own discrepancy, essentially. Like, hey, usually when I'm seeing, stocks, traders see all these see these upper shadows, they run away and from that huge red candle. Lately, traders are just kind of saying, no, we can still do this. We can still push this, right? And so, and also another great alert at 9:08, right after that, I'm letting traders know, because we had 2 stocks moving. You can see FULC, the crazy move it made. They're not going to both be running today, team. I'm waiting to make my run or waiting to make my trade, right? I'm not getting in right now because we have 2 stocks moving and they're both not going to run. Let me tell you. And then here's my KXIN alert again. And then back to SLAF. Here's someone in chat asking me, what do you mean by overtake? And he kind of questioned me and, not questioned me, but questioned what I meant by overtake. I'm like, yep, you're right on it. Yes, as in watch for ZEV to overtake, as in push past over, the high of day area. Upper shadow at 1166, that's still very possible. Very possible still. That is still now at 1110 right here. So we haven't quite gotten to takeoff mode yet. And then right after that, as you can see, let's get into it now. That 1110 alerted, watch for this to overtake and push past the upper shadow. But I'm also letting traders know in that those 2 minutes right here, which we do push past it, I'm saying careful for a double top. You could still, and that's why I'm not in yet, because you could easily get an upper shadow right here, and this just double tops and then fails back to this $11 area, right on you. And 1170 is there, and I couldn't even say area, and then boom, it just takes off, and then whammy. And I was like, told you we could overtake that upper shadow. We've just seen it so much recently. So don't forget that. And then a quick little tidbit too, if you're looking for that. That's another trade I'm looking to get into is this movement back up. Even if we formed a double top, this is a good support area. As you can see, 11 is so strong. So somewhere in one of these candles, get in for that potential small little downtrend break back up to 1140. See the little downtrend forming? Get in it right around here, just small, maybe a 500, 1,000, just a little small guy, and just for a small little scalp up to 1140 and then up to 1160. Save like your last quarter share size if you get that extra push pass, because that's what that's your goal, right? You need to know that if you're in this for a trade, 1140 then 1160 is your main goals right there, and then new high of day. These are where you're taking target 1, target 2. You're taking some shares off here, some shares off here, leaving remaining there, right? And so there we go. And that's exactly what I was talking about right there. Essentially, we could overtake that upper shadow, and we did. Now to get to some more of these other alerts where I'm going to finally get in here, right? So it has to hold the level right here as this pulls back. I couldn't get in fast enough, right? I'm trying to alert in chat too on top of the fact. And I like this to stay up a little longer. You hear me say that, and I'll even preach it in chat. I want this to show some consolidation up here a little longer before you get that huge red candle. I love the huge red candle, but I get so sketched out when they first happen because they usually what? They can collapse a little more. And I said, woo, right here at 9:15. I said, careful team. Well, it's 9:15. I said, watch out. You know, that crack of the 11.6 area, I can see that quick pullback. You can get a great short if this cracks this 11.6 area, 11.55. You're going right down to 11.4 to 11.35. You could go all the way down to 11.30, 25 really if you wanted to, right? You're going to see some crack. Oh, don't worry, it's coming. And at that same time, you're going to see, and that's why I was in and out of this trade. While I was trying to alert, I was in and out of this trade because you're going to see FULC take a huge upper shadow right where this starts getting that uptrend back up on a beautiful bounce. Like, God, I missed my bounce entry. I wish I would have had orders in. I didn't have them in fast enough too, because that's why I like some consolidation. So I have a little time to right click and, like right here, like I can. So this is what I do on the right light speed. Right click, buy custom with the stop. And so that's what I do, right? And I'll put a couple of those in. Right there, I didn't get the chance to put those in. So unfortunately, I didn't get the time to. So unfortunately, it is what it is. It is what it is, right? So it's all good. So I had a limit, or should I had a market order in. And so that's why you can see ZEV in on the FULC upper shadow and pullback. I couldn't pullback because I'm trying to, of course, I wish I could just, and I need to get one of those little microphone things that like people have that they just talk into it and it types what you talk or what you say. I wonder how good that would be as fast as I even talk sometimes. But anyway, I was in ZEV in a quick market order of 1169, 1,000 shares out at 1193. Quick little scalp, quick little scalp. I wanted more. I wanted to be able to put 1,000 shares, limit order in like 1160. Probably one here around 1150. I doubt I would have gotten filled there, and then maybe one a little lower. So I probably would have only gotten filled at 1,000 shares, but that's okay with me. Then, and of course, I knew I should have held the scalp a tad longer. I'm thinking at this minute here at 9:17. When I'm saying that, it may spike a little more. Like, oh boy, here we go, forming this little wedge here. Here's our flag. Here's another nice little tight wedge. It's getting tighter and tighter. I swear, if this pops up to the at least to the upper VWAP band again, and then a quick upper shadow above it, man, I'm gonna hate missing out on that 20-30 cents. Luckily, because I knew right, and here's what I'm alerting this team, which we're gonna leave this up. FULC. Same thing. FULC is going to have the same thing, that upper shadow where I got in ZEV, that upper shadow. I then alert, hey, don't be surprised if we see the same thing that happened to ZEV and we overtake an upper shadow on FULC. FULC. So, right. And if ZEV is, and here's what I keep alerting, if ZEV crashes and doesn't hold that 11.6 area, which was a nice short, remember, a nice short opportunity, watch for FULC to push, right? So watch these two happen. So right at that same time period, because then we're just going to kind of get out of ZEV, right? Because there's really not too much more to alert besides that 11.6 crack. But look at that 11.6 crack. Look where, and then you'll see FULC push at that right here in these same minute hands, 9:18, 9:19 yesterday, tomorrow, or I can't even talk, but on Tuesday, yesterday, the same time frame. Watch when FULC starts pushing. ZEV cracks this 11.6 area, and look at this instant crack. I mean, this went down to 11.4, and there was your 11. So there you go. Let's try to get to one of these alerts there you can see. And here's another great alert, and there you go. Also, on top of the fact, let's get to some of these last little ZEV alerts. And two great early on alerts right here that I saw kind of starting to form and just starting to see these stocks happen more and more. So right here at 9:19, when this does start cracking, I'm still wouldn't be surprised because it's still in this candle, right? So which was that quick short opportunity, which you can see crack. Look at that great short I was talking about. Boom, boom. Look at my short, right? There's the nice short up I was just talking about. But right here, right before that, I'm alerting, hey, I wouldn't be surprised, and I'm kind of still waiting for, not to the moon, but at least, I said it, not to the moon, but at least, I'm thinking at least these things are going to 1875 or 20. One of these is going to at least 1875 or 20. There you go. Boom. There you go. I alerted that. And then on top of the fact, right there, I do see this fully coming down at 1120 because it's basing out close to where this shoulder is creating. Then there's the head. At 9:20 was the first to alert. Watch for head and shoulder creation on this candle. The possible bounce back area for your shoulder, because don't forget, see some bouncing. And look where this does bounce almost up to. Oh, got so close to that 1140 area. I think it did 1135 was the high right there, 1136. But there you go. Said watch for this to pop if ZEV cracked. And I'm telling you, it's just right to the T. So let's get over to it now. So the beautiful, right? Alerts from right there. don't be surprised if we overtake that. Boom, we overtake it. Look for, and I couldn't say it, but hey, it has to hold. But I was going to say, look for a bounce off that area because I wanted this candle to hold a little longer because in this candle, I was going to alert, hey, watch for this to hold a tad longer, consolidate, and a great pullback to that 11.6 area for a bounce. Before I could even alert that, and that's why I was in and out of that trade like I wanted perfectly. And then I also alerted what? At that same, in here, in this candle, I said, watch for the 1160 crack for a great short opportunity back down. Then alert, wait for the head and shoulders to create for a bounce back to about 1140 area. Beautiful alerts. I mean, talk about 1, 2, 3, 4 trades right there. 4 trades, whammy. All right. Now let's get over to FULC. Now that's why I want to start trading those more often and getting kind of more trades under my belt, right? So FULC at that same time frame. Here we go. Here's this upper shadow creation. So this nasty, here we go, U-shape, beautiful U-shape as well, U-shape breakout. It holds, does another little small little U-shape right here, right? And then right there, that upper shadow, look what time it is. Remember when I got in at 9:14, 9:15? Look at this nasty, just like we saw ZEV do, right? Remember, about the same size upper shadow too, about 60 cents, right? We're almost right on the dot. And so that's where I was, boom, in and out ZEV right here in those candles. But then I see this holding, and that's where I start saying, hey, boom, still possible right here at 17 after. Where are we at? 17 after in this candle alone. In this candle right here, I'm saying, hey, still possible to overtake upper shadow like we did with ZEV. And if ZEV crashes, FULC will push. I promise you that, right? And there's Shinobi asking about, again, there was a guy, Shinobi asking about my KXIN trade from earlier. And now let's get into it. Look at this push and start to overtake, right? Let's get to it. Where are we at here? And then there's my alert for the whole, one of these are going to move to 1875. FULC said for it to pop if ZEV cracks. ZEV's cracking, right? Remember ZEV cracking at 917, 918. Remember ZEV cracking at this time frame, and this is holding. So look what happens when this when ZEV's cracking and this is holding. 23 after. ZEV's in the head and shoulders creation at that time frame. Here we go with FULC, right? And then it just continues to push, continues to push. And I think the next good alert that I get to here is what? Old high of day area 14.5, 14.5, 14.5. Maybe a tad above it at 14.6 because you see this upper shadow right there on the 14.6 area. Same with that one. Me and Deck both kind of wanted that area. We both canceled our orders on this lower shadow because it hit 1471, like 1470, whatever it hit, 1469. I think it hit 14. Let's see what the number is. The low on that was 1469. So we canceled our orders. Then 2 minutes later, I'm like, no, Deck, our trade, that's what I was saying because it was his alert at first. I'm like, dude, that's why I gave him kudos. Like, dude, that was your alert because it's bouncing back up. I'm like, no, because it finally came down, bounced at 1462, then fully would have filled us right there. There's a quick little lower shower at 1453. Essentially was holding, 14.6 on the dot, which we would have gotten filled. And then whammy. Look at that beautiful takeoff from that, from old high of day number, this old resistance. I can just put that, look at the crosshairs across, and look at that get filled there. Beautiful. Beautiful. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. That's just a beautiful, just like, same thing with the 11.6 buy, that I wanted with and got with ZEV. That was a 14.6 buy. I wish I would have held and stuck with FULC. Beautiful play right there. And this just continues to push. You can see, I think here's my last little bit, the alerts on it that I kind of gave yesterday. Looking to push, there we go. Remember from earlier when I said like 30 minutes before that, whatever it was, 20, 30 minutes before that, when I was saying, hey, something's going to push to 1875, if not 20. It's going to be one of the two. Ends up being FULC, And so FULC, and then this is where I kind of start getting away from it because you can see like right here, let me get back a little bit further so we're always on the right here. But right here, I want this to hold another bull flag and keep popping. Although it's overextended off the trend line, I want this to really get one more. I want my bounce off old high of day equals new, and I didn't take this one because it was getting a little sketchy. But look at this 15.5 bounce, and that's where I was saying, if it doesn't hold this 15 area, it's going to crack back to 15.6 or even 15.3. So somewhere in that 30-cent range because of that upper shadow, right? I knew this area from 15.3, you can see, to 15.5 was going to be a good bounce area. And I'm like, I should have taken that bounce for a quick scout back up, right? That was just like this trade. Ends up being bigger at the time being, of course. But this was more like what? The trade on ZEV, just a quick little in and out scout. Okay, boom, in and out, see the upper shadow weakness, boom. And I've been out most of my trade there in this, upper shadow formation. Because you trust me, when you see these stocks enough, you see these creating. You see when this happens, it's looking weak. All you see is red flushing on your time in level 2 or time, whatever, not level 2, but my time in sales. I noticed that. That's what I have right beside my ladder system here on Thinkorswim. So it's just an easy, but that's where I got out of it, and I was done with it, right? Done with getting in and out of this trade or trying to figure out where to get in and out of this trade, because then, look how this just continues to move with upper shadows. Usually when you see this again, kind of like we saw with ZEV earlier, well, upper shadow, a huge, here we go, we're pushing again, and then this just falls back from, say 16.8 area all the way down to, $1.50 drop. Most traders, okay, boom, it may test the trend line, and then it finally cracks back, and then maybe set a new trend line or something, but usually it cracks from there. All these upper shadows and resistance, then whammy, look at the biggest green candle of the day, right? Then forms another upper shadow right up to that 1875 area. It halted up right here, open, and we didn't see any orders up there, really. We didn't see hardly any over 18, but it did hit that on everyone's chart. Everyone kind of saw that 1875 hit or 1889 hit, whatever it was, 1880-ish area, and then still overtook that, and it kept going, right? And then kept doing that until it finally hit a little over my $20 area that I kept calling for, and that's when I was screenshotting again in chat going, hey, team, this area is going to have to be it. I called this earlier. I can't even believe, honestly, that it made it even over 20. I was expecting 1875 to 20 and this to finally be done, and I thought that was going to be it, and that's where I first started alerting, like, hey, team, remember this alert? It's here now, so be careful with all these crazy upper shadows it likes to form because there's upper shadow down. All these wiki, wiki rangy stock is like what I like to call it, wiki, a very rangy stock, and just overtaking all these upper shadows. You usually see the first one I alerted, and then we keep moving past these little upper shadows and move past, then upper shadow, and then this crazy red candle still will come past. Okay, upper shadow. Okay, we're still have a chance maybe, and then a huge upper shadow, and you're thinking, you've got to think by then, okay, it's going to maybe fall over some more. Biggest green candle of the day so far, and I think it ended up being the biggest green candle of the day, into another huge upper shadow, and we still form. It's like traders just chop it off with their mind and just play this bull flag again, right? It's like a beautiful bull flag or pendant flag, whammy up to a not new high of day, but close to another small flag. Like, here's your pull, another flag pop, then it's back down, then it's just kind of doing what? A huge wedge in the end, nice huge wedge, which squeezes again. And so you see those squeezes kind of coming, but it's really hard to trust this far up, all this wickiness, especially when these weren't too pretty. That's not pretty to kind of overtake this in the end. I know if in the end you just want to kind of ignore all the ugliness and go, here's your bottom line and here's your top line. We need to squeeze over that. The fact that it stays up and traders don't move past it. Be careful with these. I've seen these a lot recently. You do see what happens when this is my beautiful trend line that I had in right there, when that finally cracked off and that was done. But I said, hey, if we hold this, what was it, the 15 or 16.5 would be great. 15.5's just fine. 14.5's going like, okay, that's the last line of defense we have. We're about to be done. Those three areas, which is funny, it was $1 a piece, but you can see if I just go up and down when I'm looking at over here at the chart, knowing I'll see bounce and support there, right, on the way up. Didn't even get to any of those. So that's why I was alerting here in after hours yesterday, hey, this is going to move tomorrow. This isn't going to, you're not going to see, my point being the mid-candle breakout setup, because it's going to move and gap up. We're going to see a gap up, and it's going to be hard to come down to that mid-candle form. We don't want it to gap up, right? Because that kind of ruins the mid-candle breakout setup. We want this to move the first day, close around 18, maybe moves to the $18 area, but opens, my point being, maybe around like 17 or 16. You see a gap down. Maybe see a small spike to 1875 area, then moves its way back down to say like 16, 15, somewhere in here. And then that way the next day and the next day, you're midway through the first day's breakout and you can see potential to this. And so again, kind of like KXIN, the first alert I was showing you earlier today, too much too soon, too fast, oh no, and so you see the huge downtrend. Now don't count this out for days later, but for mid-candle breakout form, that's just not going to happen. We're not going to see that in this setup. Join me live on Fridays. I go live for the man, Sean Deckmar, every Friday over at Deckmar Trades via tradecaster.com. That's right, it's tradecaster.com. Or, of course, hit my website up, primetradinginvestments.com. I do one-on-one lessons over there all the time. Hit my lessons up. They are awesome. 1 hour Zoom. You can go longer if we want to. Get over there and get some one-on-one time if you need some extra help.